Dr. Katherine Tseng, a research associate with the East Asia Institute at the National University of Singapore, is joining me now here in the studio. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's start with your impression of this dramatic and extraordinary day in Hong Kong. Were you surprised to see what you just saw?
I was very much surprised when I saw the violence broke out. Yesterday evening, it's quite late. And I was not that surprised when the Hong Kong government is taking quick action to finish and clear the spot. But what I was really worried, and what I'm really worried about the future is that, so how is the violence is going to sustain on? And what about the government's reaction? What about the Hong Kong society view this protest? It's going to tear apart the Hong Kong people.
Indeed. I mean, when we look at the level of violence, illegal entry, vandalism, and some are calling this a nothing to lose kind of attitude. What's the thing that concerns you the most about this? And these are young people, students.
Generally, I think the protester, it is being triggered by the 612, that even previous one, and triggered by the extradition law amendment, the proposal drafting. But what I am really concerned is how this younger generation protester view what politics means in their life and what the role or how they evaluate the Hong Kong government. Because it seems just like some months after, this younger generation, they are turning 20. And these, I mean, 612, the violence, the riot, will be like the enlightening moment to their perception, to their knowledge, to what politics should be and how they are going to defend, because they feel that they are trapped in imminent fear, that they are going to lose, like what the protest has been saying, their current life, what they've taken that as a granted.
So this is much more than just extradition bill.
That is the trigger. But in due course, we see that the fear and the worry kind of is escalating into something like defending democracy. So I will say that perhaps the mismanagement of the government, and because that is actually the accumulation process. So this is the chance for no more Hong Kong people, not just the younger generations. They are letting the steam off against the dissatisfaction against the Hong Kong government, of the inequality. But actually, this is a structural and systemic issue. So it wouldn't be solved just like one night riot. And Hong Kong government does not have the magic wand. So actually, it is a crisis moment, but also a turning point.
So I mean, the complete removal of the bill, let's say, and Carrie Lam steps down, this would not be enough to quell this anger and apprehension?
I will say that would justify how the protests view and evaluate their action. But we have to say that there are indeed some the aspect of illegality that they stormed the parliament. But the controversial thing is that the protests and this younger one, they are saying that this is our last resort. We have no way to go. This is what we can do. So it's kind of a self-defense, that kind of argument. So the point is that I will say that Carrie Lam stepping down and withdrawing of the bill, that will intriguingly justify this protest. But I will say that what really strengthened their confidence, their view, that would be the support to their ultimate goal of democracy.
Okay. Well, China must be watching the situation very closely. What do you expect to be the next move from China? Because given that the G20 has just wrapped up, the trade tension has been somewhat calmed down. Will it be in Beijing's interest to continue to back Carrie Lam's leadership? And what do you think will the next chess play for Beijing?
It is likely and that the Beijing government is going to back the Lam's administration, because from China's perspective, first of all, I'm sure that the Beijing government doesn't want to have another battle in Hong Kong. Right now, they are facing the US-China trade war. They are facing a very tricky Taiwanese presidential election, and they are facing other kind of foreign relations challenges like Korean Peninsula, and also in China-ASEAN relations. So certainly, I don't think Beijing wants to have another battle in Hong Kong, which can be very, very tricky, because for these years, particularly after the 2014 umbrella movement, there are a lot of either foreign forces, I mean, officially, unofficially supporting the Hong Kong people's quest or fighting for democracy.
The presidency didn't pay much of a price during the 2014 umbrella movement. Is it likely to be different this time?
I would say that this is a learning process for the Hong Kong people. And as you can see that the differences in 2014 and this time there are more kind of component of violences and more extreme activities of Hong Kong people and the protester and normal Hong Kong people. But I would say that the differences will be, this is a learning process, and how far does the Hong Kong society is willing to go along this road, because that will be tough and impractical, not really what the Hong Kong people used to be, because they are fighting for democracy, which is kind of something in the future. So I would say that it depends on the whole society of Hong Kong.
Speaking of the future more broadly, what is likely to happen in 2047? Because when Hong Kong completely becomes part of China, I mean, could the current unrest be a sort of a taste of what's to come?
I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't pick up a certain moment, but I would say that after 2017, because that was an important moment celebrating the so-called handing over of Hong Kong, that is, again, telling the Hong Kong people that this is a reality. But again, what they feel in their imminent life is that their autonomy or something they, particularly for the younger one, something they have been taken for granted is actually shrinking or actually facing more and more restriction, and depending on the fluctuating external environment. So for Hong Kong people, perhaps I would say that a sense of self-help is going to grow, going to develop among the Hong Kong people. That will certainly cast great uncertainty in future Hong Kong society relations between government and Beijing.
Hopefully the cooler heads could prevail and we could see some calm in the country. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. That was Dr. Katherine Tseng, Research Associate of East Asia Institute at NUS.